What's going on, everybody? We have a very interesting guest today. We have at Mr. Pat Mineo himself. Pat's been breaking a lot of recruiting news, a lot of transfer news. He's been getting into it with FloWrestling. I wanted to have him on to kind of talk about everything that he's got going on. I think a lot of people wanted to know who he is. He's got a lot of Twitter followers. He's got his own wrestling forum. Without further ado, enjoy the interview. All right, man. Thanks for joining today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on, Zach.
I saw you just got off the golf course.
Yeah, man. I played 9 holes tonight. Just started golfing more this summer, picking up the habit now that I'm getting old. About to turn 31. So, doing what I can to stay competitive,
Yeah, absolutely. Is this your first on-camera interview that you've done? Like, since you've been doing all this?
I've done 2 others, but this is the first kind of podcast show I've done like this. So it's awesome, man. Thanks for having me on again.
Yeah, you bet. So if anybody who, for some reason, doesn't know who Pat is, first of all, let me say your name correctly for the first time. Pat Mineo.
Mineo. I kind of like Mineo.
Yeah. After, when I made that video, so I made a video about your back and forth with Christian Piles. There's 2 things that I was like 50% on. I was like, I'm either 50% sure that I'm going to get his name right or 50% sure I'm going to get it wrong. And I got it wrong. And then when I put it out, I was like, I'm 50% he's going to like the video or 50% he might not like the video. And then I think, after we talked a little bit, I think you liked it.
I loved it, man. I love the video. I love what you're doing. I love the setup you got going on. Good stuff. It's definitely different than some of the other podcasts and shows I've seen. So I'm digging the vibe, man. And I love the shirt, by the way.
I appreciate it.
Got to rep the room.
Just came in, man. The wrestling room. Got to represent. So if you don't know who Pat is the fearless leader of the Wrestling Room, which is a Facebook group, kind of like a forum, kind of like a new age forum about anything wrestling related. You're always on top of it, posting any relative articles or anything related to wrestling. When did you start that?
Yeah, so started the Wrestling Room. It was about November of last year. Mm-hmm. So I was part of a few other groups and forums called The Weigh In, The Scramble, was with some other admins, decided to go off and do my own thing and bring on my former college roommate, Jeff Jacobs, who's admin with me there. Great guy, former beach world bronze medalist, wrestled in college at East Stroudsburg there with me. And so he's a fellow admin, and we've been doing it for like 6-7 months now and got a couple thousand members. So it's blowing up.
Yeah, I just checked it, and you're like 4 shy of 3,000. Maybe after this video, you'll hit 3,000.
Yeah, I think we'll hit 3K, man. And then Twitter, same thing. We've been, trying to keep the content pushing out on Twitter, more fast paced, but we're seeing a good following there too. So love it, man.
Yeah. So the first time your name ever popped up on my probably Twitter feed would have been the Zahid Valencia Dayton Fix stuff. Was that the first thing that you kind of reported on that kind of went viral?
Yeah, so it goes back further, but as far as the large scale, that hit it pretty big. But man, I've been doing this a long time, just even more low key. But one of the bigger ones that I dropped first, all the way back when Suriano transferred to Rutgers from Penn State. But that was more low key. That was like in the New Jersey Wrestling Forum. Didn't have a lot of Twitter followers, but the Zahid stuff, that's when started getting some more ink and people were like, oh, who is this guy? And, our room flooded with more members. So, we've been blowing up ever since.
What I think for most people, and me included, until I kind of did some research and stuff, how would you describe yourself? I called you in the video a rogue reporter, and I didn't, because I'm like, you're not attached to a website, correct?
Or no, not currently. We're working on some things for the Wrestling Room in the room, but not attached or affiliated with any sort of news outlet or website, kind of like freelancing. Just love the sport. I've been, following wrestling this closely, even back when I did wrestle. When I was in 7th grade, I started posting on a forum under the name Mr. Good Picks on a forum called Best on Mat. And I did that throughout high school, even when I was competing, and kind of no one knew who I was. And then they announced who I was. So I've been doing it a long time, just, pushing content and predictions. But over the past year or so, it's kind of got a little more serious. And, gotten more attention with it. So I just love the sport, man. Not affiliated with any sort of outlet, but we're growing our own thing and doing our own thing here at the wrestling room.
Yeah. So then kind of let's go back to like the old forum era. I was the same way. I personally wasn't that good at wrestling, but I just loved the sport, and I would always go on the forums and read, all these guys kind of talking trash about, whatever going on in the wrestling world. I love it. I still love it. I'm kind of a lurker. I've never actually posted on any of the forums or anything, but what were some of the early forums that you used to kind of like hover around?
Yeah, so I started out on this forum called Best on Mat, and then the New Jersey Wrestling Forum when I was younger. And then of course, I was in a few other forums, like I said, an admin of a forum called like the Weigh In and the Scramble, been on the open mat and stuff like that. But ever since we kind of created our own thing here, that's been kind of awesome because, it's not a large group. So we are kind of in control of the content that puts out and, all that. So whatever we put out, we're kind of, looking at beforehand, and me and Jeff are just ready to roll with this thing.
Yeah. All right, so I got a question for you. Speaking of forums and whatnot, you say that you like to stick around the wrestling room, but you currently earn the privilege of being banned by the Hawkeye Report, correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Man, I've been getting banned from forums for a long time. I've been banned from like something in Cali called Wrestlers Only.
Yeah.
Because I would post news without it being posted on Flow first, which was their rule. It had to be verified in an article. Said I incited too many opinions, so I got booted from there. Hawkeye Report blocked me after the Perry thing. A bunch of other groups blocked me. It hasn't phased me. Of course, everyone at Flow, except I think Vader, Mike Mal, and Askren, has personally blocked me, and from all the company accounts. So kind of like, what's going on there? Yeah, it's kind of like, wait, you're giving me more attention by just blowing this up. It's kind of weird, but hey, if that's what they want to do, I know they're still following, even though they have me blocked. That's for sure.
What I don't understand is what is the difference between you, and I say this respectfully, what's the difference between you and any other guy? Like, it's not like I made the point of you're not assigned to any sort of publication right now or anything. So why do people, like, I could go on there and say whatever I wanted. No one's going to get mad. Why do they get mad why do they get upset with you?
Oh man, I think a lot of time they get upset because it's, the news and it's the truth, and, it's getting dropped. And a lot of these folks, I respect what they do. I'm not trying to knock their hustle or what they do, but at the same time, I'm growing something where we started something ourselves. And, I haven't had to affiliate myself with any other company or group or news outlet, freelancing it. And I think they get mad because they want to either be the first to drop something, or they think that their toes are being stepped on by someone who's not an industry guy or a media hack. And think that rubs them the wrong way. If what I was saying wasn't true, then they wouldn't even pay it any mind. But it's kind of like, what's going on? Why is this guy getting all this attention? I guess that's what happens. You got to have some haters, right?
But I think them getting upset with you, like, I only know you because they got upset with you. So then I started tuning in and trying to figure it out,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, that whole thing, like with Flow, if they never said a word, like, they actually helped me get more of a following. I don't know if they realize that, but a lot of people like yourself, like, they made a bigger deal of it. And then when it came back around and things were true, it's like, wait a minute, like, they're the ones that shot themselves in the foot. So inadvertently, their hate is bringing me more followers and our group more hype and attention. And, that's what we want. As being part of that, we want more followers. We want to push content. We want people to have access to the news and the content and not have to always pay behind a paywall, for a crappy feed. Let's be honest.
Yeah, there you go. Shots fired. So who do you think dislikes you more, the Hawkeye Report or FloWrestling?
Oh man, I can tell you. I know you're out in Iowa, right?
Yep.
I don't think they like me too much. There's probably some people, Iowa State fans like you, who love it.
Let's go. Let's go.
But the funny thing is, there was never any disrespect intended. Like, the Brands brothers are legends in the sport. Like, everyone involved in that program are legends. Somehow it gets misconstrued as me reporting what's going on as you're a hater. You're a Hawkeye hater. I mean, Iowa wrestling is historical in our sport. Like, there's no hate. It's just facts. And I'm probably, if it came between Iowa right now and Flo, I mean, they'd have to duke it out for biggest hater right now, because Iowa got pretty heated. I know you're out there, and they banned me from everything. That forum, I don't. There must have been like 1,000 posts bashing me, and like these people don't even know me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I'm on that forum like every day, and I've seen a lot of crazy comments, and most of the time I just scroll past it. But the fact that you got blocked, I was like, holy crap, that's impressive.
Yeah, it was weird. And it's like, once again, like, why are they blocking people for, they're just putting more attention to it, like the truth. Then it's like, wait a minute, why would they pay so much attention to this? And then of course it came out to be true. So it's kind of like, hey, you tried to hide something, now you're mad at the person who's just speaking the truth.
Yeah, I will say that Randy Novak actually got mad at me one time on Twitter. I was pretty proud of that. I was questioning I was questioning one time why Iowa decides to put so many, like when they put out their lineup, there's a lot of oars. They don't want to show you, who they're going to throw out there.
Yeah.
And I questioned that. I didn't ever think he would ever see it because he doesn't follow me, doesn't know anything about who I am. And then he roasted me, and I was like, wow, I kind of liked it.
Yeah, they're real protective out there, but like it's kind of too easy to get under their skin. It's like, hey, Mark Perry's leaving for the desert with all the girls, and like everyone there is like, you're a liar, like that's fake news. And even he's like, fake news. And it's like, dude, you guys are shooting yourself in the foot every time you post something like that or block me. More attention's brought to it. So yeah, man, they take it serious out there, and they're real protective. And obviously that's, Iowa wrestling, but man, they need to lighten up a bit. But the Brands Bros are intense.
Do you see any parallels between the Rutgers fan base and the Hawkeye fan base? Like they both kind of have an attitude to them, or why is Rutgers better than the Hawkeyes?
Yeah, so the Rutgers fan base, oh man, it's like there are probably some comparisons as far as passion, but you got a bunch of like New Jersey Paisans with the Rutgers fan base going nuts, and then Iowa is more like these country boys, and both love the sport and love wrestling kind of to the same extent. But Rutgers fans, I mean, obviously they're better than Hawkeye fans. One, we're not as sensitive, right? We're more kind of bada bing.
Yep.
Two, you won't see Goodale have his wrestlers duck anybody. So the Brands like to sit a few of them out, rest them, whatever. Someone's sick all the time.
I think
whatever
they call it load management.
Yeah, exactly. Duck, duck, goose.
Duck, duck, goose. All right, I love it. Let's stay in the Big Ten right now. Do you indeed get your sources from the Big Ten restrooms?
From the what? From the Big Ten restrooms, I saw that. Oh man, yeah, I saw Spy posted that dude Andrew Spy. He's actually from New Jersey as well, but I've never heard of him, and he works at Flow. He's from, I guess, a few towns over from me. Never heard of him until he started tweeting and working at Flow. Yeah, that's how I get my sources. If they want to believe it's from the Big Ten restrooms, or they think that I'm just throwing it at a wall. Meanwhile, I'm having conversations with Sebastian Rivera. That's that Jersey respect. I don't know why they expected me not to have the intel on someone from New Jersey of anything. Like maybe Iowa, they're going to give me a hard time, but this guy's from Jersey. Obviously, I'm going to get the intel first.
So if you're speaking with, and I don't want to, magician never reveals his secrets or anything like that. But when you're talking to these kids, do they know that they know who you are, right? So they know that you're going to probably post it. So is there some sort of like, how does that work usually when you're trying to track something down?
Yeah, and most of the time, right, we want to be respectful, of that news. And at the same time, like, prior to this, Flo would be mad and be like, hey, you need to wait to drop that. But then they would drop that news too. Mm-hmm. And it was only okay once they dropped it. So at a certain point, people are not always looking for Flo to break their news. They, aren't really too shy about it, especially when it's about to happen. I think a lot of people know something's about to happen. People may have known Rivera was going to go to the portal and come to RU maybe. So he was ready for that to get out, obviously, and he was going into the portal and starting the process. So, I mean, I think a lot of the people, to be honest, are sick of Flo and some of the personalities there. And they're just willing to give that information to other people who may be more suited to, talk about that stuff.
Yeah, I think you're like I don't know if you pay attention to basketball or football, but you're like the Woj or the Schefter of wrestling.
Yeah, I'm a huge football fan. Obviously, you see I'm in the Cheddar Zone, like
Yep.
you, Packers fan.
Let's go back here.
Die hard Packers fan. So Adam Schefter, man, that's a good comparison because look at him. He obviously, works for a hot, NFL, ESPN, but he's kind of like freelancing out there and tweeting information as it comes. And people love that in today's digital media age, right? They want that information, that news fed to them on the spot. So I think a lot of people realize that maybe like waiting 2 weeks to plan a reveal or an announcement, that's not always, it's going to leak out a lot of the time anyway. So now they're just putting it out there and kind of that's it.
Yeah. And I'm kind of new to this whole media space. I just have like the YouTube channel and I'm trying to think, like, somebody pointed it out. I don't know if it was in the wrestling room or if it was on Twitter, but they were talking about, I think it was one of the Flow guys had tweeted something. It was a subtweet towards you about deleting, stuff that's wrong, right?
Yeah.
I watch Colin Cowherd all the time. He's wrong about a lot of stuff. You're allowed to be wrong, correct?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. You're allowed to be wrong. And people want to vocalize when you are wrong. And the funny thing is, the tweets that are deleted, explained right away, hey, I was asked to delete this about Perry. And once again, they kind of shot themselves in the foot. Just because I deleted it doesn't mean it wasn't true. I was being respectful because the guy was trying to protect his girls before they went to Sunkist. And all of a sudden it's fake news this, fake news that. Even after it's true, they're still trying to pin that on me. I mean, people are allowed to be wrong. That happens. I think they're showing that they're kind of sweating it with the amount they pay attention to that.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right, let's go back to the portal talk here. I tried starting a rumor that Kennedy Monday was coming to Iowa State. It didn't work.
I saw that.
It didn't work. I had somebody reach out like, "What do you know? Like, what do you?" I'm like, "Dude, I'm just stalking. I'm just starting a rumor. Is Kennedy Monday playing 40 chess and we're all playing checkers, or why? What's the logic behind him dipping his toe in the portal and then saying staying?
And he sure did dip his toe in the portal. A couple days ago, like 3 days ago, he randomly came out and dropped that he was entering the portal. That was news to like everybody in the media world, wrestling media, fans. They're kind of like, what happened? Even UNC Tar Heels fans were like, wait a second, his dad, who's a legend, Kenny Monday, is with Tar Heel Wrestling Club and really involved with UNC. So people didn't really get that move. And even I dropped, hey, Kennedy Monday is leaving UNC. He's in the portal. Where's he going to go? Princeton with his brother? Is he going to stay in the ACC? And what's going to happen? Then a few hours later, I got word of, kind of what happened and kind of that he made that decision on the spot and that he may stay. And then I got word that he is staying that same day. And I kind of wrote that he was staying put. But you don't see that very often. You don't see someone announcing they're going to the portal and then taking it back. Probably just an emotional on the spot decision from Kennedy. A lot of pressure in D1 sports, but he probably regrets releasing that. And he's kind of like forever a Tar Heel today. And those fans are probably like, wait a minute.
I feel like we saw the slow regret or remorse because it was like, delete this, okay, and then later delete that, and then finally he deleted off his Instagram, I believe.
Yeah, and that's what people were holding hope. So it got dropped, and I was like, okay, he dropped it. He's in the portal. And then I had heard, wait, he might not go anywhere. And I'm like, well, why would he announce it then? Then I saw it drop off of Twitter, and I'm like, okay. And my buddy's like, it's still on IG. Then it dropped off IG. I'm like, dude, he's staying. There's no way you would retract that type of statement if you're going anywhere. And people were speculating Minnesota, Nebraska, he's going to be in the Big Ten, Ohio State. People were even saying, but that same day we came to the realization, just through multiple sources, what happened in the room or if there was altercations with the coaches, whatever it may be, they hashed it out. They're good now. And I think he belongs there. He belongs in Chapel Hill.
I wish he would have watched my video and I wish we would have saw my names, but it is what it is. I think I know your answer for this next one. You have a prediction on Sebastian Rivera?
Yeah, I think I have a prediction for Rivera. I mean, a lot of people, Iowa fans want him to go to Iowa. Penn State fans want him to go to Penn State. That's not happening. Anyone who watched the Big Ten tournament last year at Rutgers and saw Rivera call out to the Jersey fans, I think that said right there where he's ending up. got his degree from Northwestern, amazing degree. He's ready for grad school. I mean, what better place than to come home to RU, and that's going to be awesome. He's going to be at 141. So, he's bulking up. He's going to be a big sea bass.
Yeah, that's right. All right. And then the last one here, I think the other transfer, the big transfer that people were talking about was Gavin Teasdale. I saw on Twitter that you were talking about you'd like to see him at Lock Haven. Have you heard any updates on that?
Yeah, so with Teasdale, it's kind of like everyone's anticipating what's going to happen with this kid, right? He came out of PA, 4-time state champ, which is, ridiculous because PA is so deep and the wrestling culture here is crazy. Goes to Penn State, it doesn't work out, transfers to Iowa, was living with Spencer Lee's family for a little bit, doing well at Iowa, going to Cole College, then to Iowa. We didn't really see him wrestle much, and now he's out at Iowa, and he's either going to end up, in my opinion, he's even looking at D2 schools. I heard we might see him at a Pennsylvania school. I personally said Lock Haven because I feel like that's not too far from home, and he should be back in PA. Maybe he has some people here who can help center him and get him focused and ready to go. Kid has all the talent in the world, just needs to kind of make it third time's a charm. We've seen those stories with Chance Marsteller. Maybe that's why I'm leaning towards Lock Haven, but I just want to see the kid succeed, right? And finally want to see him get out there on the mat. We all know what he's capable of. So I know he's looking at D2 schools. I would like to see him at even like a Bloomsburg, a Lock Haven, those kind of schools out in PA. So we'll see what happens.
Yep. And then you don't have to name any names if you don't have anything, but do you is there any more portals coming? Any more guys entering the portal?
Yeah, I think the portal is heating up, and we've seen obviously Rivera is probably the biggest name we'll see because that's huge given his talent and what he's done. We're going to see some more names hop in the portal. It's been crazy. There's still some really good names in the portal too that still haven't decided yet. So, and whenever there's a team in the portal, or I'm sorry, a wrestler in the portal, you see a lot of Big Ten teams. Wisconsin on the lookout. They have great coaches. Bono and Reeder. You see Virginia Tech in the ACC, Freire and Roby. Those guys are good at hopping on certain guys in the portal, and who wouldn't want to go to those awesome schools? So, look out for some moves to be made in the ACC and the Big Ten. We're going to see some more portal moves, but so far it's kind of shaken up between Teasdale and Monday and Rivera. It's like 3 completely different stories that we're seeing in the portal. One retracted it. The other is Rivera, who could have a homecoming. The other is Teasdale, where we're like waiting to see what happens. So it's cool because not every portal story is the same, and I think we're going to have more of that coming.
I love it. I love what they started doing in the portal. It makes the offseason a lot more fun.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's awesome. And that is like Flo made it known that their source for people going into the portal is, I think, just them looking at the portal.
Yeah,
so they don't get their intel until someone actually is in the portal. So, sometimes they say they're going to go in the portal before they actually enter it. So Flo might want to get some better intel on that. They're a little late.
Imagine if the NFL worked that way, where you only found out once they're actual free agents. It's like Schefter's working the whole time saying like, hey, it could be Tampa Bay, it could be Oakland, it could be this, it could be that.
Schefter is sitting there tweeting, all right, Brady to the Bucks. All right, Gronk's down in Tampa. What's going on? Okay. The Patriots released Gronk from his contract, and you knew what was going to happen way before it happened. So that's kind of what we want, that hype in the wrestling world, right? We don't need to always be so fragmented and like 5 days from now, there will be a big announcement,
Right.
It's kind of like what's happening,
Yeah.
What's happening. We want the news now. And a lot of people, we need that hype for our sport to build it up if we want to be as big as the other sports, in my opinion.
I was talking to a friend the other day about this. I was like, Flow is the number one. The data says Flow's number one, right? As far as, their audience that they have. I think we can all agree with that. But imagine ESPN is number one, right? Imagine if ESPN all of a sudden decided to talk trash about some freelancer. It doesn't happen.
It's crazy. And Flow, Flow is like the biggest in our sport. They pretty much snagged a monopoly on our sport, right? They have the content, they have the cameras, they have the crews, they have the website, and it's kind of weird that they would sweat that. And that's why they started giving more attention to places like the Wrestling Room. It's like, wait, if Flo is sweating this, dropping 8-minute mixtapes on Mineo and whatever else they're doing, dropping little diss tracks and, Piles, whatever he's doing, Spay, like they're giving it more attention, which shows that they're kind of worried. They shouldn't be. They're a huge company. They just need to step up their game. I mean, it's good to have competition, right? That's the name of the game. We want there to be competition. I'm sure a lot of people are happy. They may not always have to pay to find out who's going in the portal or some sort of rankings. It's cool to have other people in the sport just as knowledgeable, but Flo obviously just wants to be the ones.
All right, before we wrap this up, Fight TV, they have a big, what is it, the Rumble on the Roof this Sunday.
Chicago, Chi-Town.
Do you have any predictions for that?
Yeah. So I got my guy who, let's see, there's a bunch of good matches. We got Oliver and Nolf, right?
Yeah, so Jordan Oliver versus Jason Nolf, that's the headliner.
Yeah, that's a cool match. It's one that like a lot of people probably would want to see, but we haven't been able to. Nolf is obviously amazing. I got my guy J.O., Lehigh Valley, Easton, PA. That guy's hungry. This guy has stayed hungry for like almost a decade now. Like he's had some tough breaks, with the suspension and missing a year, which was bogus. Injuries and everything getting postponed. He's hungry. I think he's going to come out and make a statement and beat up a little on Jason Nolf, which is hard to say because Nolf's usually the one putting the beat down on. So look for J.O. I think J.O. is going to win that. A couple other good matches. What do we got? We got like some unique matches, a couple Minnesota guys going at it.
Luke Pletcher versus Pat Lugo is an interesting one. Pletcher would be bumping up, I believe, to wrestle Lugo. That's interesting. And then another one that I'm kind of interested in because I don't think he's competed since he left Cornell, Dylan Palacio and Dylan Ness.
Yeah, that's a cool one. Palacio's insane on social media. I love it. He's a wild man. I haven't seen him wrestle in a while. There was rumors of him wrestling for Uruguay with the Olympics and world teams. I think that'll be cool because they're both like electric, exciting wrestlers, right? Someone's going to get put on their back. Someone's going to get thrown. I'll go with Green Toe Palacio, but don't be surprised if he does get gator rolled by, Ness, who's always dangerous.
Yep, absolutely. I appreciate you coming on, man. I like to keep these somewhat brief. Go ahead and shout out the Wrestling Room and your Twitter handles and all that.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Wrestling Room, you see the shirts, guys, join on Facebook. Come for some great content and breaking news before Flow. 99.9% of the time
wrestling.
We'll give that disclosure. We'll give them the 0.1%. So yeah, come to the room, man. We push content. We have great dialogue. We got, fun stuff, funny memes, current memes. We just love wrestling and the sport, and everyone is welcome there. It doesn't matter if you've wrestled or, your knowledge on the sport. We want to grow the group. So check it out on Facebook, Mr. Pat Mineo on Twitter. You'll probably see some crazy tweets, some, Schefter type tweets, like you said. And we're just trying to grow this thing. And, Wrestling Room, we're always saying we got the scoop and get scooped. And just want to say, Flo, what's your favorite flavor? Because we got it all.
There I don't know if you can see that. There it is. Zoom in. Awesome, dude. That's the Rutgers colorway right there, too, huh?
Yeah, you got it. The red and black Scarlet Knights. And Flo, enjoy your ice cream.
That's right. Thanks for joining. I always appreciate anytime you share any of our stuff. We're just started out. We started in during quarantine. I had my buddy Tyler helping me out. Other than that, we're, just small, and hopefully one day we can, keep building up and we'll take down the big media altogether.
Absolutely, man. Love what you guys are doing. Love the shows you guys are doing over there at StaleMates. So keep it up, man. I'd be happy to come on again. And, we'll be looking out for some more breaking news coming soon.
Yeah, we just got some hats. I'm going to send you a hat for free. You'll have to DM me your address when we're done.
Awesome. Definitely, man. I'll be rocking that as we continue to get the jump on FloWrestling. You heard it first in the Wrestling Room.